Okay, so when you're rounding with place value, the first thing you want to kind of think about is what place value we're rounding to. In this case, we're rounding to the hundreds place value. And we know that since we're rounding to the hundreds place value, we need to make sure that we have two endpoints on our number line. So let's go ahead and start with our base number. So our base number, so we know that it's our number is either going to round, or it has to round to either 1,300 or 1,400. So let's go ahead and write our base down. So it could round to 1,300, or it could round to 1,400. So it has to be so it has to round to one of those two numbers since we're rounding to the hundreds place. So now that we have our starting and ending round points on our number line, let's go ahead and find the midpoint, because the midpoint really helps us decide whether we're going to round that to 1,300 or 1,400. To do that, you take your end point, or your highest point on your number line. In this case it's 1,400, and you subtract your lowest point, which is 1,300. So once we do that, we know that that's going to equal 100. So we know we know from 1,300 to 1,400 it is 100. So we have 100 in between those two numbers. So the next step is go ahead and just divide that in half, or divide that into two pieces. We know if we cut that in half, it's 50. So we just add that 50 to our bottom number, and that gives us our midpoint. So 1,350 is our midpoint. It's important that we have a midpoint because that helps us determine where we're going to place the number that we're rounding on our number line. In this case, 1,340. We know that 1,340 has to be in between 1,300 and 1,400. What we also know, though, is that 1,340 is smaller than our midpoint. In this case, we would put it somewhere around here. And if we know that it's there, we know that it's a lot closer to 1,300. And that's our main goal, is to figure out, is 1,340 closer to 1,300 or 1,400? In this case, it's closer to 1,300. So we're going to round this number to 1,300. Let's round one more, this time 1,390. Well, we know that in between, just like with the other number, in between the two numbers, 1,300 and 1,400, it's 100 points, and our midpoint is 1,350. And so it's pretty easy to figure out, okay, well, we know that our midpoint's 1,350, 1,390 is bigger than that. So we know it's going to be on this, in this area, somewhere around here. Now it's not exact here. We're just trying to go ahead and round here. So we know that it's up there. So we're going to round, since it's closer to 1,400, we're going to round 1,390 to 1,400. And that's rounding with place value and a number line. Good luck.